Was that a fart or was that a shark? We might not know till you go to the bathroom. All right, boys and girls, welcome to the start of a marathon. We're doing 4 days back to back on a return client, and we might do 5 depending on how he feels after the 4. But we're gonna start his new sleeve, do 4 days on that, and then if he's feeling it, we're gonna use the 5th day to finish his other sleeve that we did. And when you see the other sleeve I'm talking about, you guys will know what I'm talking about because we did a vlog video for it before. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of continuation of that day. But yeah, he came out here, so he's like, fuck it, let's do 5 days. And I was like, hey man, let's do it. I'm down. You know I'm down. So, but totally different theme this time. On the other arm, the first arm we did some sort of like Japanese slash, you know, Mother Nature type stuff. On this one, we're going straight LA Vegas style. You guys want to check out real quick. Boom. So we got like a gangster Chicano chick with an AK-47, an Impala, some palm trees, smoke, Route 66. A lot of this stuff was asked for specifically, so it took a lot to try to fit it in there, especially with the AK being so big and stuff. The composition had to fit well with the AK, so I had to be able to get like the whole butt of the gun in there so you could tell what it is. So that took up a lot of space, but we were still able to fit a lot in there. And then at the bottom, we got the roulette wheel and the Sin City cards just to start to get the idea of Vegas. And then when we continue on the inner arm, we'll probably do some like Italian mobster, gangster, Tommy gun, smoking a cigar type of thing, right? But this will be a good start for 3 days. I'm gonna try to knock it out in 3 days, but it's still a lot for 3 days. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of detail and stuff, but I'm gonna try to stencil everything up right now, get it on his arm, see what it's looking like. And I got a shit ton of stenciling to do, but I'm gonna take the time today to get most of the stencils done so I don't have to focus on it any other day. And we'll get a decent amount done today, but tomorrow's gonna be when we get a lot done. And then the 3rd day, we're going hard. So I'm gonna take my time with the stencil. Preparation is key, you know, especially for these big pieces. You need to get the blueprint to all the information you need in there so you could just run through it smoothly instead of trying to figure it out as you go. So making sure that your stencil is the way you need it is a big deal. All right, stencil's done, kinda. I left a little bit undone because the 3rd day, I'm gonna finish it. I did enough to where I could put it on his skin and we could see how everything's gonna lay, but I didn't like detail it out. I'm gonna start with the upper arm because that has the most detail. I could run through the lower forearm pretty quickly, but the upper half of the arm is pretty dense. So I'm gonna start with that today. So let's go print it out and start sizing it up. So when you're printing out for large scale projects, really you gotta just, for me, I just make it as big as I can, 3 separate sections. Sometimes you're gonna have to go bigger than that. Sometimes it's enough depending on the size of the canvas, but I printed out as big as I could on the canvas on the iPad. I'll put them together and see how close I am, but I might need to go a little bigger because he has like a bigger arm, which means I might have to section it out different, but who knows, we'll see. Yeah, so this is what we did last time on the last vlog we did for his arm. We did the Oni mask with the lotus, and then we got the crane on the inside, healed up super dope. And then we had the tiger on the outside with the little pagoda boat and everything. But it healed really good. This arm's pretty much done. We just got the little tricep gap, which we'll probably hit on our final day. But we're gonna focus our effort on the new sleeve because there's a lot more work to do there, so we're gonna use our energy there. Okay. Well, not much bigger, but I still kind of want to do a little bigger, but it's covering pretty much sitting the way I need it to. But I want to be able to push this up a little bit more so that Route 66 can sit near his elbow, but that means these cards need to come down to his wrist. So we need to go bigger for sure, but we're not far. So I'm gonna make it a little bigger, and then hopefully on the 2nd try we'll get it. So when I stenciled it, because it's so big, I stenciled it in sections. So that's the bottom forearm, that's the middle, and then this is the very top. So what I do is I have them in separate layers like this, but when I resize them, I put them in a group and I resize them together. So if I resize one, they all are relative to each other. So now all I need to do is just push the boundaries a little bit, go over the border a little bit, and then if I do that, everything got made bigger at the same time. so it'll all line up. And then what I do is I'll just print one at a time, and then I'll do the same thing I did. I'll tape it together real quick. I don't got to be too like exact on it lining up with this, because this is just the mock-up, just trying to see the size. But when I print the actual stencils out, then I'll be like precise about how it lines up. Probably place the upper arm on as one piece, and then I'll do the lower arm separate, just because it's way easier that way. But yeah, that's a good trick for Procreate for you to do larger pieces. You got to cut out sections and then treat them as their own section. But then when you resize them, you have to resize them together so they stay relative to each other. So let's print that one. You got to be patient with big pieces, because the preparation is key to make sure everything is right. But that's why we have multiple days. So if we have to spend some time right now to get the preparation done, I won't have to do any prep tomorrow, and we could just focus on tattooing and stuff. So super important that you make sure you put the time and effort into the prep, because it doesn't matter how well you tattoo it. If it's not prepped correctly, then it's just not worth it. Yeah. All right, I made this one substantially bigger, so this should be it for sure. Yeah, so this is more how I had it. So the barrel of the gun goes to the back of his shoulder, the LA sits on the rear delt, palm trees on the front delt, top it off with a girl's head, bucket hat. The Impala kind of fades off to the side a little bit until we figure out what we're gonna border it with on the inner bicep. Route 66.6 sits just below the elbow, but in a spot where it could lay pretty flat. And then the cards reach all the way to the bottom of the wrist, which is where we want it. And then even if I have to resize this bottom part by itself and make it a little big or whatever I need to do, that's totally fine. But as far as this from the Route 66 up, this is definitely the size that I wanted it. So we're gonna go ahead and make this into a stencil now, and we're just gonna put on it. Cool, perfect size. This is the first size I printed out, this is the second. But it just goes to show you, like, especially with the, well, honestly with any piece, when it comes to composing like a black and gray piece like this, you gotta like always go bigger than you think. Print out a bigger size than what you thought, and then hold it up to the arm. Even if you think the first size is good, like blow it up even 40% bigger or more, and then see how much better it is. Most of the time you're gonna look at it and be like, oh wow, I like that size better. Because what a lot of artists don't do is they don't think about how it's gonna like wrap around the arm, or how it's gonna wrap around towards the front of the bicep or behind the tricep or whatever. They just try to like make it float on the outside of the arm, and it really doesn't like engulf the arm. And you really gotta go up and over, around the sides a little bit. Not all the way, but just enough to where it bleeds off and it's easier to add on to when you add on to it and stuff. It just gives it a fuller look. So you always gotta go bigger probably than what you normally think. The good old trusty China stencil printer. This thing is a trooper. I know they die out sometimes, but they're less than $100, so you could just get a new one. But we like these best because it's one of the only stencil printers that just makes the stencil the way you have it on the paper, as opposed to it basing itself off of temperature, like how hot it is. Because some of them, you know, the hotter it is, the thicker the lines will be, or the cooler it is, the thinner it is. But that just creates too much variation for me. I'd rather just print it out and it be exactly the way I had it on the iPad. So buy them on Amazon. Most tattoo artists already know what printer this is, because this is like the go-to starter printer for tattoo artists. But I've tried all the best ones, the ones that cost like $2 grand, the ones that the actual printer that prints it out, like the inkjet printer. But this one is just like tried and true, and it works every time. And then if it starts to die out a little bit, you can just buy another one for hella cheap. It's not that big a deal, but it's the one that we use here at the shop. Boom. Give yourself plenty of area to prep, get everything out of the way. Peel these off one at a time. You know, sometimes when you're peeling these back, they could leave like residue on, like extra carbon on the paper. But if you lay it flat and then you just like peel it from the corner and just do it like this, there won't be any residue. So that's like a trick. As opposed to if you just like went like this and just like opened it up, there'll probably be residue from it, because you're like unevenly peeling it apart. And now I'm gonna put some slits in the paper where I know that it needs to bend to properly wrap it around the arm, because there's going to be some points on the paper that's going to have like stress points that's not going to allow you to lay it flat. So if you put the slits in the right spot, it'll allow you to micro adjust the edges, but you can still place the whole stencil on generally all at once. And like I said, I'm going to place the top part on all at once, and then I'll place the bottom part by itself, because it's just way easier that way. So now I'm going to wash my hands, and then we got to prep his arm, and then we're going to put the stencil. make our marks to get that little center part to make sure I know I want that to start there and I want it to stop there. Kind of a general guideline, doesn't have to line up exactly, but I know if I get it generally on these marks that the center point should be fine. And then I'll adjust the outer edges the way I need to as I lay it down, but I'm gonna press the center down first and then I'll start working the edges slowly. I know some people like to just like slap it on there and just press hella hard and just hope for the best, but I really want to make sure every part of the stencil, especially since it's so detailed, I want it to lay pretty good on every edge. There's some leeway on some of the stuff like the smoke I don't really care about, but there's some stuff I just needed to lay exact, so we're gonna take our time with that. So I'm gonna apply some stencil stuff and we're gonna apply this damn stencil. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today, day one. We got the bottom of the top half done. As you can see right here, we got part of the barrel and the clip of the 8K, got the smoke, bullet hole. There's actually a lot of detail to do on day one, but I needed to get a decent amount done so that tomorrow is doable. We have more tattoo time tomorrow because we don't have any prep to do tomorrow. So he's gonna come in, I'm gonna take it off, wipe it down, and then we're gonna get to work, which gives us a lot more time to work with. And day three shouldn't even be too bad because all of this stuff is, I could run through this pretty well, but the top part is really detailed. So I'm gonna make sure I focus on that. And yeah, day two is gonna be super fun because of that face and stuff. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna wrap them up and then I'm gonna get them out of here. The reason I started on the top of the arm is because I knew it had so much detail that I needed to use all of my renewed energy in the beginning to focus on that. And then I started at the bottom of it because when you're wiping, you wanna wipe down so you don't wipe off the stencil and stuff. If I started right here, I'm gonna do some tattooing and I'm gonna wipe and I'm gonna start wiping this whole stencil off. So starting at the bottom and working kind of like a Xerox machine and just kind of working my way up like that so I don't wipe the stencil off. As you can see, I already wiped this stencil off, but I was already gonna need to re-stencil that on day three anyway, so I did that on purpose. And yeah, it's all going according to plan, but I started there because it was the most detail. I wanted to use my energy on that. All right, guys, catch us on the next sessions. It's gonna be a long 4 or 5 days, but it's gonna be worth it. A lot of coverage. I like doing shit like this because I get to focus on one client and I don't really have to go back and forth with like too many different personalities or anything. We have a plan, we're gonna execute it, and he's gonna go home a new man. So stay tuned for the outcome. Day two, baby, getting started. We didn't have to re-stencil anything, so we just jumped right into it. Got a lot of work to do today, but if we can knock this out, then we for sure got tomorrow in the bag. Fun stuff. Hibiscus tea? Nice, they had it. Got my hibiscus tea, good to go. What's up, guys? Day 4 today. We did 3 days already on this sleeve. We did the whole outer arm. We just got a little bit to finish on the outside. It's so dense with detail on the outside. Like usually I can get the outer arm done in 3 days, but this took a little bit of extra time, but for a good reason. It's gonna be dope. I'm spending a lot of time making sure everything is right. So today we got to finish the outside, and then we're starting the inner forearm, and then we have a 5th day. We actually had to add on a 5th day to finish what we wanted to get done. So then I'll finish up the inner forearm with that as well. It's been late nights, long days and stuff. It's pretty exhausting, but working on the same project, same client is actually like ideal because I'd rather focus on one project and get something really substantial done. And that's exactly what we're doing. I think you guys are gonna love this sleeve. And I guess we'll see how my client sits for today on the inner arm, because you guys know that that's a little different than the outer arm. So I'm just getting set up, prepping and stuff. The client's already late, per usual, same as every other day, but it's all good. We're gonna get it done. Right now I'm setting up my critical torque, and then I'm gonna set up my wand packer. I just like having both of them set up so I have options. Basically, the critical torque is a 3.5 stroke and it hits a little softer than the packer. This just allows me, like, depending on what area of the skin I'm in, I'm able to switch it depending if it's already like stretched a lot or if it's like a tough area that's hard to saturate. One of these is gonna hit better for that area, especially on these large scale projects. It gives you the option to move faster, because sometimes if you're in a problem area with a certain machine, you're gonna have to like slow down, or you're gonna have to like really like take your time to get it in there. But one of these machines will do it better than the other in a different spot. So sometimes I'll just switch back and forth and just start, you know, ooh, I'm gonna try this because it's not hitting right, so I'm gonna try this other one, boop, 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 and it hits better. So that's basically what I've been doing, especially for these large scale projects where you're hitting every spot on the arm, all the difficult areas, all the easy areas, all of that stuff. Again, you guys already know I'm using Intense Dark Gray Wash and Super Black for my washes in black, and you know, that's about it, really. You guys know everything that I use already, but these are the two machines I'm setting up right now. I'm trying to get ready for when he gets in here. So for these larger scale projects, I always set up multiple caps of the inks that I use the most of, and I don't know why I'm using the pink one today. I didn't set up. So I'm going to set up 2 caps for my 3 drop, 7 drop, 12 drop, and then maybe my half cap and my black. Shit, we might as well just double up on everything. Fuck it. Cause you use a lot of ink. Like, I be running through the black, I be running through hella shit really fast, especially in these really saturated pieces. You guys will see in this sleeve, there's a lot of saturation and minimal skin breaks. There's skin breaks, but it's just used like intentionally in certain spots. But the rest of the areas are really saturated and have a lot of shading in them. So you use a lot of ink a lot quicker. So sometimes doubling up on the ink is actually ideal. And that's what we're doing right now. So we got the Intense Dark Gray Wash. Just need a Patel. This one's kind of empty. Let's see if there's enough in here. So we're gonna go full dark gray wash on these ones. Going half on these. And then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1. So the 1 drop is optional. It's really just like a water cap that I'm using. It's basically it to water down something that's faded out the skin. I never use the 1 drop as a tone by itself, but it's always a good option if you're trying to cut in between and maybe fading your lightest tone out to skin in a way that's like super soft. So I wouldn't recommend using the 1 drop by itself. I don't even include that when I tell people my drop system, because I don't want them to overuse it or think that it's a tone by itself, because it's not enough pigment in it for it to be a tone by itself. So just keep that in mind if you guys are gonna copy this set. And then I got the Super Black. This is a super thick black. It's a pre-dilution, so it's like a concentrated black. I'm gonna fill this up about 75% of the cap, and then the rest will be water. Because it's pre-dilution, you gotta dilute it yourself, and then it'll make it the right consistency, and it'll be really dark. A lot of people are nervous to dilute their black because they're scared that it's not gonna be as black, but that's exactly what this type of ink is meant for. You have to dilute it yourself. A lot of people say they use Super, but it's too thick. It's because you didn't dilute it. So I'm gonna dilute it 25%, and works every time. Yep, just distilled water. You can use witch hazel, you can use whatever you want, but it's all the same as long as it's sterile. Bada boom, bada bing. Now I'm just gonna finish setting up and wait for my client to get here, and I'll show you guys what we got done so far, and then I'll show you what we're gonna stencil on today. Needles that we're using quadrant needles for everything. We'll probably use 5 round liner, 5 round shader, 7 curve mag, 15 curve mag, and a 23 curve mag. That's what we're using today. And then wipes, per usual, you already know, is MD wipeouts. Go to mdwipeouts.com to order yours, pre-packaged, pre-sterilized. Perfect, look at that, look how beautiful that is. What else could you ask for? No residue, fully sterile, that's why I like them. I only have paper towels for like prepping the skin and when I'm putting the stencil on and stuff like that, because I don't want to waste wipeouts for something that is just like real quick. And I use the wipeouts for the tattoo process because it's more gentle on the skin. But when you're prepping the skin, the regular paper towels will work just fine. And we always have a bunch laying around, so we still use paper towels in that sense. But as far as tattooing, all of us use MD wipeouts. These are actually Bishop grips. Bishop sells these. Perfect thickness and a good way to keep your setup sterile. So I just wrap this all the way to the grooves, and then I put this over. That way everything is covered, and then you can just bag this up. I know that there's like sleeves and stuff that make this a little cleaner and stuff, but I'm just using what we already have, bottle bags, because we already used the bottle bags. So if I were to get like clip cord sleeves or bag sleeves, it's just like another thing I have to order. When this works fine. I know it looks a little like, you just need to cover your machine at the end of the day, and I just don't really care to add another SKU to the storage cabinet. These work just fine. So the critical torque is a little different because we don't have disposable grips for it. So I gotta make sure I wrap the grip properly, which means we leave no gap. It's just the hole that it has right there, but everything else is wrapped. And then you just gauze tape over it. This is kind of a way that a lot of people do it, but ideally disposable grips are the best option. Just waiting for critical to come out with some good disposable grips, and then I'll probably use those. But for now, this will do just fine. I know in the comments you guys are gonna tell me about all these different sleeves and bag things and whatever for the machines, and it's like, I hear you, I know they exist, I used all of them and stuff like that. I just, it's not that big a deal to me. I just kind of make sure it's all sterile and I get it done, and it works just fine. 2 machines, bunch of needles, bunch of ink, bunch of tattooing. Okay, let's go wash this guy's arm off and prep. I'm gonna make Jessa help me put the hat stencil back on just because I don't want to do it. And then I'll stencil the other thing back on. I think we're out of foam soap though. Do they sell H2 Ocean shit or Hustle Butter shit at the Light? Sucks we just picked up an order. We should have got some, but it's okay. I'll use regular soap and stuff like that. Foam soap makes it easier to clean off the previous day's session, and whatever's dried on there and stuff, it makes it a lot easier and gentler. If you have to like scrub it off, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
There was like 2 guys that were freaking out already on this tattoo. They were like,
really?
Damn. This one guy just some random dude, like when I was sitting on the bench, was like, God damn, he's like, did you get that done here at the DoubleTree?
At the DoubleTree.
I was like, no. They were like, I was like, they told him about your shop. They're like, oh, I need to go check that out. And then the Uber driver too was like, damn.
Damn, son.
I told him how much it was. He's like, damn, you, what the hell do you do?
That's what everyone's gonna ask. In the comments, guess what he does for a living to be able to afford this tattoo. I want to see your guys' guesses. So guys, this is what I was talking about. We have to put the print on the hat because the hat is actually like a Dior hat. So we got to finish the prints on there. The first day that we already did is already starting to peel and stuff. So I'm gonna put some ointment on them for it now. And then hopefully by the time I'm done with the hat, I'll get a solid photo of the outside completely finished, and hopefully that peeling isn't gonna, I'm sure it'll be fine though. It won't be that big a deal, but it's already starting to get to that point where it's drying up. But yeah, we got a ton of coverage in 3 days. This is a ton of detail. I don't know if you guys can understand, but even like every little part is just so much saturation and little tiny detail, and this is so heavily saturated, so much shading, but I think it's turning out super dope. It's gonna be one of them ones, and super excited to do it. This is what we got this whole thing done yesterday, and that was a lot. That was a lot of saturation and like precision and stuff. Cards say Sin City, because really the idea is the upper part is like kind of LA gangster, and then the bottom is like a Vegas mobster. So it's kind of a cool blend of the 2 worlds and stuff. So super dope sleeve. I'm gonna continue it today. But yeah, I'm gonna put some ointment on this upper arm, and then I'm gonna start sizing up the inner forearm, print the stencil off of that, get it on them, and then we're gonna put the hat stencil of the hat back on. We're gonna knock out the hat first today, get that out of the way, start the inner forearm, get as far as we can, and then we'll finish it up tomorrow, make sure everything's really tied together real nicely. Look at someone's design instantly and just know like there's something off about this, and it's just an eye that you develop to where you're like, you look at it and then you're like, instantly it just clicks, like highest potential based on the theme, and you know, put what I need to in there and know how to do it in a way that doesn't look like too much or too jumbled. And someone could ask for a bunch of stuff, I could probably fit it. If I can't, you really can't do it, because I know if I could fit it in there. Like I wouldn't just be like, oh no, that's too much. I'll try to fit it in there. I'll try to utilize the space the best. But if I utilize the space the best, like right here, and then you try to add 2 more things into this, I'm like, it really can't be done, because I've already used the space the best it could be used. It's just getting down like that eye for it, like the feng shui of tattooing, you know, like the way everything sits, the way it sits on the arm, where it sits on the anatomy of the arm, and like what space is so open that you could fit something there, or what space is so already utilized that you can't fit something there, and what do you fit there? If it's a dark area and something negative needs to go there, should it be completely negative or should it be kind of negative? That all depends on what's around it. Like, and it sounds hella complicated, but this like comes to muscle memory. Once you have it down, it just kind of clicks in your head, and you're like, yeah, I get it. I know I need to put here, I know I need to put there. And every design is like an experiment, right? Like you're trying to throw stuff on there and see what works, but once something like clicks, then the rest of it all starts to follow through and shit like that, you know? But yeah, it's just that. It's just how I break it down to myself is easy for me to understand, to the point where like I can consistently design some crazy shit no matter what the theme and stuff, just because I just, the way I talk to myself, you know, the way my self-talk. Classic little regular angle, little circles. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. I think that the only reason you would see your needle marks is like all the needles aren't in the skin at the same time, which either means you're not like, it's not like properly stretched, or your needle is too shallow to the point where some of them are penetrating and then some of them are not, and then the ones that are not are like skimming the skin and you can see the needle mark. But especially with like round shaders and anything thicker, it's like sometimes you need to hang it out a little more so that it like pushes past the resistance of the skin and all of those needles will hit at the same time. They don't really know themselves why they do certain shit. They just kind of do it, and then for them to break it down to someone, they would have to understand it on another level, and like they probably never broke it down to themselves in that deep a level, because a lot of people, even people that get like decent work, they're like figuring it out as they go. Every tattoo. Yeah. And it's like they stumble into an end result that looks good enough, and then to some people that's like, wow, that's amazing, but like you could tell when someone has like a real good understanding and intention about what they're doing, because it turns out different, and it looks different, it feels different, and they could explain to you how they did it. You know, that's a different level. There's plenty of artists out there that are stumbling into decent pieces. That's most artists, but that's why it's good to get down a system or have some form of like understanding of what you're doing, because along the way it's just gonna give you a sense of confidence in how you do any tattoo, not just a line or a rose, or it's how you do every tattoo. Yeah. And it's like you could break it down to yourself step by step, and that's why it's gonna look more intentional than someone else that does it.
I definitely noticed that like in my healing work, wherever like I knew exactly what I was going to do, those places always feel like exactly like basically how I want them to. Mm-hmm. But then the places where I had to like, where it's kind of like, should I do more? Should I do less? Should I?
You're like touching it, looking at it,
wiping it, and then I can see like those parts do not heal the way that and like as they are in the fresh picture, like in the fresh picture, you know?
Yeah, and it's weird because then you'll like shade it and then it'll look hella dark, but when it heals, it's hella light, and then it's like, yeah, that's why intention is super important, because if you know a spot needs to be a certain darkness and stuff, if you're able to confidently go in there and know how to put that dark in a way that like it's gonna heal that way, that's different than building up from like a 7 drop to a 12 drop to a full cap, and then you've got some sort of darkness, but then it heals somewhere in between, and then it's like lighter than you wanted it to be. That's why the blacks and the dark shading are so important to hold a piece together. And the grays, to me, like once you got it down, are pretty easy. You just it's more about like hitting the darks intentionally and stuff. All right, so we knocked the hat out. We didn't get to that in the first few days, which is totally fine. So we knocked the hat out. Now the whole outer sleeve is done. Parts are already peeling and stuff. But now we're starting on the inner arm, and we just started, and we're gonna go ahead and get as much as done we can today, and then we're gonna go ahead and finish up tomorrow. Shit ton of work to get done in these 5 days, but so far so good, super dope. There's actually a lot of detail in the hat and stuff, so I had to take my own time to like sit there and do the print in the hat, because it says Dior like 1,000 times and shit, and then just shading over it and stuff. Just a bunch of black to pack to finish off the contrast of everything, but we got that finished up, so now we're gonna focus on the inner arm for the next rest of today and then tomorrow, and then we'll wrap it up after that, baby. Last day, final day, finally, you know, day 5. Added on the extra day so that we can finish the inner forearm. Got the whole outside done basically in 3 days, and then we knocked out that hat like you guys saw yesterday. But now we're gonna finish up this portrait in the 777, get that mobster in there, complete the Vegas theme at the bottom, and then that'll be a wrap for this trip. Then he'll come back and we'll finish off the inner bicep and then the little gaps that we have on his other sleeve, and then we're on to the next project. So today's the last day, see how it goes. We did it, guys, 5 days in a row. We did the whole outer and then the inner forearm. That's what we just got done. And yeah, day 5 is painful, but he got through it. He's gonna go recover now, I'm sure, but we got all the content for it. And I walked you guys through the whole process pretty much. You guys were here from the beginning. It was super dope to kind of describe it as I went. And this is one of those ones, you know, I really like this one. I like the theme. I don't always get to do this type of theme. I know a lot of people like this and stuff, but you know, I get all different types of stuff. Just so happened this time I get some, you know, Chicano / Vegas mobster stuff. So I like all different type of themes, but this one was really fun to do. And yeah, now I'm gonna wrap them up and get them out of here. What, Cam? Yeah, I'm just like slipping down. Like, I'm tired, guys. I just can't do it. Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fun. It's good times. Golden State, September. Maybe we'll go to the Hawaii Tattoo Expo in August. Maybe we'll just pop up there. We don't need a booth or anything. Maybe we get a booth, but it's a little last minute. But it'd be cool to just pop up there and just like walk around. It'd be a similar experience to us having a booth, because just showing face, sometimes you get a lot of the experience out of just showing face. And then maybe some clients will come out there with us. Maybe we'll enter some contests or something like that. Maybe we'll bring a Big Red or something like that. But other than that, you know, during the summertime, I think we're all gonna try to do stuff together and like go places. I don't know about conventions in the summertime, but maybe just some good, fun trips. You know, try to enjoy the outdoors and stuff. These guys have been working hard and focused and stuff, and sometimes you gotta break away and just go live life a little bit. So, but yeah, Golden State for sure. That's what the one where we go to every year. So we're gonna show up and show out at Golden State, get a dope Airbnb. We're all gonna be in it, and make some more memories as a team. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for this 5-day tattoo session. I'm exhausted, but I'm glad you guys came along with me. I just want you guys to like, subscribe to the channel. You know, we're posting these new videos with a lot of value in them, just like we used to, but even better. So I want you guys to really comment and engage with us. Let us know what you want to see next. If you want to keep seeing this, we'll keep doing it and stuff. But yeah, we're back at it. We're giving you guys the value, and I'm glad you guys were here with me on these 5 days. So until the next video, till the next project, love you guys. See you next video.